Welcome to the Riding in the Weeds podcast, where we tackle life's inevitable challenges, from navigating mountain bike trails to overcoming business hurdles and forging deeper connections with pets and people. It's easy to find yourself tangled in the weeds, but we're here to help with insights and strategies that'll get you out of the weeds. Our goal is to boost your performance in both sports and everyday life by sharing essential skills that we've learnt along the way. Through tales of our entrepreneurship journey, thrilling biking adventures, and fostering meaningful relationships, your hosts, Natasha, Lockey, and Ginny, Branden, will guide you on a journey that's not only enjoyable, but also inspiring. Join us to gain confidence that you need to navigate the trails of life. Hello, and welcome to episode 44 of Riding in the Weeds. Today you are here with Ginny and I, and we are talking about the idea of just starting where you are. Getting stuck in the weeds happens really quickly when you're in judgment. When you start to think that you need to be somewhere else. There's the old saying that the best time to plant an oak tree was 20 years ago. The second best time, it's today, right? So how do you get your mindset, get yourself back on track, release the fear, the shame, the judgment, the guilt, all of the things, and just go, right, this is where I am today. This is what I'm going to do today. And start taking that one step at a time to start exactly where you are to get to where you want to go. Also, in that idea, knowing that it is about the journey. Because where you want to go right now might actually not be where you're going to end up. And I guarantee you, wherever you end up is, of course, exactly where you're meant to be, and probably a whole lot cooler than the place that you thought you wanted to go. So let's get aligned with what we want in our lives right now, start right where we are, and move into the future, navigate right out of the weeds. Ginny, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. We're trying not to blow off the map over here. It's a little windy.
Windy, rainy, snowy, icy, and over here, it's sunny with a little bit of cloud.
Oh, it's funny. Your environment always changes. You're outside, you're inside, whatever, but your weather doesn't. But my location never changes, but my weather is always changing.
I love that. That is so very true. And I'm inside today because Ian's outside. We're packing up. We're ready to change our location and start heading north for the summer. And my whole world is shifting and moving and changing up. And this is actually something that Ginny and I talk about quite a lot, is how much her life is dictated by the weather. It's dictated by the seasons, but it's doing the same things, however, just adjusting them to what happens when. Whereas for me, I am in just a state of flux the whole time. And it is really hard to really get a routine. And I think that even in both of these situations, you end up, if you're too routined, it's really hard to break the routine. And if you're out of routine, it's really hard to find a routine within complete chaos. Isn't the right word, but you understand my meaning.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Yes. Yeah, and I love how that fits right in with our topic today, because the whole idea of starting exactly where you are is really about that daily, moment to moment rebalancing of whatever's going on in your life. And life happens, I think, at the intersection between the structure and the routine, and then the adaptability and freedom. And if we have too much of either one, if you're too far on one side of that spectrum or the other, then it can be really difficult. But when you can find that balance in the middle and then continually adjust, like adjusting your sails on a sailboat, then that's when things smooth out, and that's when things get a lot easier.
It's actually really interesting. As you were talking, I was just thinking about how some people's strategies work for some people and they don't work for other people. And with that sailboat analogy, what's really interesting is there is certain rules or skills. If you're on a mountain bike, there are skills, they are exactly the same. Things work better if you're balanced, so therefore keep your feet level, right? Things work better if you're looking ahead versus looking at the front tire. Things work better if you are not riding your brakes. These are the rules of the road. If you want to succeed on your mountain bike, you want to follow those rules. Same thing with a sailboat, same thing with a horse, same thing with communicating with your pets. There are certain things that they're the base level, you do it like that, and everything in life has that. However, then there's the adaptations that come with each person. And especially with mountain biking, I've literally had every type of adaptation you can think of. I mean, to start with, my husband's a walking paraplegic. So the way he rides his mountain bike is not going to be the way that an able-bodied person. And I had a 5'10" shoe salesperson say to me once, he's like, yeah, this shoe is made for a person that hasn't got any injuries, hasn't sustained any life. But let's be honest, from the moment you're born, you start sustaining life. And life means that this mountain biker might have a fused ankle and they can't drop their heels as far as I would like them. So it doesn't matter how many times I yell at them, drop your heels. Eventually they turn around and say, look, my heel doesn't drop any further than that because it's rigidly stuck there. Or the girl who had one arm shorter than the other arm, she was born that way. So yes, I need that person to have level feet and drop their heels, but they're only going to be able to do that within their constraints. And so being able to know the rules of the road, know what works best, and then adapt to where you're at allows you to reset the sails so that they work for your boat, your conditions. Because your boat probably doesn't look the same way as it did when it was newly minted.
Yeah. And I love that. I took art classes my entire school years, and I still do art, not as much as I would like. But one of the things with art is when you understand the rules, then you can break them. And that's why we have people like Picasso and Dali and Escher and all of those different creative types, because they understand the rules. Few people realize that Picasso has a huge body of work that is realistic. But he knew how to do the realistic work, and then he learned how to break those rules. And once you know the foundational rules, then you can start exploring and experimenting. And that's where life can get really interesting, when you figure out exactly what does work for you. Sometimes that's an equipment change or an upgrade or a shift in how you're doing something. Or sometimes it's cross-training. We've spent a lot of time talking about this, about the value of pivoting 180 degrees from what you are focused on and exploring something different that will give you better skills and a better foundation to take back to whatever it was. For me as a horse rider, yoga is really valuable. Things like Tai Chi and Qigong and Alexander technique are really valuable to me because they help me work on my own body so that when I get back on the horse, I can do even more, even better, and be more effective communicating with the horse when I'm riding. And cross-training is one of the fastest ways to be able to expand your skills across different chosen modalities, whatever that is, whether that's just sports or artwork or any kind of thing you're working on exploring, because it gives you a broader scope to work from. And you can take that and apply it back to whatever it is you might be struggling with. So sometimes going the complete opposite direction can actually improve whatever you were stuck on in the first place.
Yeah, I love all of that. When you said once you know the rules, you can break them, I was like, and we're done. She's just nailed it. Ta-da! Because you're absolutely right. Once you know the rules, once you know how things work, you're able to deconstruct. Coming into that cross-training, you're able to start being like, okay, so on a bicycle, I know that I need to have my feet level. So why is it that halfway through my ride, I'm dropping my foot 1 foot up and 1 foot down? Well, because I'm tired. Okay, so is going out and riding my bike every day going to give me the strength I need to be able to keep my feet level if halfway through the ride every single time I'm hitting that wall? Now I've created a habit. And that habit can be broken by getting off of the bicycle, doing some strength training. And you mentioned Qigong. My friend who's a Qigong trainer, she was flabbergasted when I said to her that I personally think that Qigong is probably one of the most important things that every mountain biker should do. I was doing it every day. I'm not. And the reason why, as a mountain biker, I struggle with yoga, I struggle with Qigong. And they're two things that are incredibly helpful. But yet, a HIIT workout is completely within my realm because it's fast, it's furious, don't really have to think too hard. Mountain bikers don't stretch. They don't do things slowly. They don't like to slow down. However, if you can get present and you can find that flow, it changes everything. I was reading a Facebook post the other day about someone who said she's just stuck at being an intermediate beginner. And she's okay with that, except for is frustrated when she sees people excel past her. And I'm like, have you gotten off the bicycle and looked at how you can do work off the bike to adjust the things that aren't working for you on the bike? And I think that that is sort of the key to my performance coaching, whether you're on a mountain bike or you're in your life. How can you take a step back and go, okay, these are the rules. This is what I know about myself. This is what I know isn't working. What can I deconstruct? What can I use? But I'm really good at doing this over here. So can I take that example and bring it in to another area of my life?
Yeah. I think that's so vital, is being able to take that step back and objectively look at where you are honestly, without judgment, without shame, without guilt, and then move forward from there wherever you are. That's the whole point of this episode, is you have to start where you are. And I find this with the horses, that every day that I go out there and work with them, I have to check in and find out where they are, because we may not be able to do the exact same thing we did yesterday. And that could just be because the horse is just not the same as they were yesterday. And I have had, exactly, I've had times where we made a huge amount of progress in something, and then for whatever reason, because of the way his body is and his balance is, we've had to go back and do other things again. And the better you can get at assessing objectively where you are in each day and each moment, and just working from there, the faster you'll make progress in every area of your life. Because when you take that judgment out of it and you just allow yourself to be where you are, it frees you up to be able to move into other spaces. And it frees you up to be able to pivot, because you're not worried about what you did yesterday. You're just taking what you have now and working with it. So you might wake up one day and be excited to do a HIIT workout and have a ton of energy. 2 days later, you may wake up and go, you know what? A HIIT workout ain't happening today. I need to do some yoga. I need to slow down. I need to do something low key and rebalance my body that way. That's what it needs in this moment today. Monday, or no, it was Tuesday, I took a nap. Like, I had a headache. There were some reasons for having a headache, but I did take ibuprofen. I was starting to feel better, but I was like, I need to shut down. Like, I just needed a nap, and I took it, and I woke up feeling so much better. I don't know why I needed a reset, but I did apparently. And it is a luxury to be able to do things like that. But the more you can find ways to allow yourself that grace without judgment, the easier everything becomes.
Absolutely. And again, the whole rules thing, right? It comes back to our episode the other day where we were talking about how I haven't tried everything. What do I try next? but I'm bombarded by all of this information. So yes, I'm 45 years of age. At this point in time, using weights, strength, just doing body weight exercises are not the only things I need to do. However, I don't have the capacity right now to go to the personal trainer that has the weights and the program that I want to be doing. I know that I'm not going to make the trek to the local gym every day, so that's not going to happen. So therefore, I just don't work out. And where that's led me is got to the resort the other day, and they've got this beautiful spa, and the locker room's amazing. And for me, in order to get into the locker room, I have to go and do a workout, and I've got weights. So I should use some weights. So I did. And then my legs wouldn't work. And so now I'm like, well, this is embarrassing, isn't it? So I'm now back in my camper. I have no weights. I have some battle ropes, so I can use them. But we're about to get on the road. So really, what I have available to me is going for a run and doing the HIIT workouts. And let's be honest, it was a HIIT workout that disabled me. So clearly, that is better than nothing. And then when I get to somewhere where there's going to be a gym for 2 months, I can go and I can use some weights and figure out what I need to do. And then I'm going to somewhere where the gym unfortunately closed during COVID. So I can't carry weights around in my camper. I'm like literally ditching t-shirts to ditch weight out of this camper at this point. So adding a 35-pound weight that we carry around isn't really an option. So it's about adapting and being where you are and not letting all of the rules stop you from doing what you can do in order to get to where you want to go. Because there's always something you can do, whether we're talking about riding your bicycle, or you've got 3 kids and you can only get out once a week. Well, then go out once a week and have fun and let go, right? And maybe you can go every day, but you don't want to. So think about a way that makes you happy. Think about a way that actually lights you up. Quite honestly, going to the locker room really lit me up. So therefore I went and I did a workout for 3 days. And it was so embarrassing to see where I was at and have let myself get to over the last few years. And I'm now inspired to get my energy. But I've also gotten to the end of a process that started in 2018 when I broke my left wrist. I then started to get back on top of things, but I went through some depression. I then was really busy with work. COVID hit. The whole world got turned upside down. And it has been a reset for all of us. Finding the routine, finding who we want to be in this new space with all of the stuff that kind of got thrown into the Vitamix and blended about.
Yeah. I think the thing that strikes me the most in that conversation is the fact that frequently it's not actually real rules that we're following. They're self-imposed rules.
So
and
true.
That's what we've got to really take a look at, is where are we creating rules for ourselves that aren't serving us or are keeping us stuck in a place where we don't want to be or that is not useful to us. And you went through a lot in the last 6 years or so. That's a lot to go through. And so you have to start where you are now. You can't just jump back in starting where you left off. It doesn't work that way. Who you are today is not the same person that you were that many years ago. And I dare say you're better for it.
100%.
But so what? You can't lift the same amount of weight that you could back then.
Yeah, absolutely. When Ian went to the Paralympics, for the year of pre-Olympics and the year of the Olympics, I was running the most insane. When I look back on my journey, it's insane. Like the things that I've done, generally it's like, that's insane. No wonder you have gotten to this point and you hit the wall and you got to restart. But I remember being so controlled and so on top of my workouts and what I was doing. And one day I realized that it was the only place I had control of my life. Every other place in my world was in a complete chaos. I used to have a saying that if I could find Zen, we didn't have a dishwasher in a lodge that served food for 12 people, breakfast and dinner, and we didn't have a dishwasher. So I had to do dishes for 12 people, which was an insane amount, twice a day, whilst doing a lot of other things. And I would be like, if I can find Zen in washing these dishes, and if I can find Zen, and when I'd clean the rooms, and I was running a bus company whilst cleaning rooms, and I was like, if I can find a Zen in the chaos, then I can achieve anything in my life. And now I look back at that and I'm like, was I crazy? What was I thinking? And no wonder I have gotten to a point where I've just gone, you know what? Actually, right now, that's not important. And when I'm ready, I will start again. And I can give myself grace for the fact that I pushed way too far, too fast. And I'm sure it's like any parent, any mom, after the first 5 years, that kid is born and your life is just completely absorbed. And then you come out the other end and you can be like, oh my God, I really let myself go. And oh, this is terrible. And no, you just went through an experience. You held on for dear life. Now you can breathe. How do you want the next bit to look? It's start where we are, set a new goal, choose a path, and know that quite honestly, that path will take you wherever it is you're supposed to go.
Yeah. It's an everyday thing. You just have to evaluate where you are each day and figure out what's needed. And we go through those experiences in our lives where we look back and we're like, dang, how did I make it out of that alive? And looking back on it, it looks crazy to think about everything you did. But you got through it. And you probably did find Zen washing dishes because you didn't have a choice. Yeah. And I think there's value in those lessons. You don't want to go back there. You don't want to have to clean 12 rooms and wash dishes for 12 people twice a day. You're never going back. But there was value in the way that you handled it at the time, and you handled it to the best of your ability. And just because you can't do that now doesn't mean anything about your worth. Frankly, I'm sure you don't want to do that now. I wouldn't want to do that now either.
It's so funny because we got a dishwasher and we didn't used to have a washing machine. So we got a dishwasher and we also got a washing machine at the same time. So I replaced having to do the dishes with having to wash all the washing for the entire lodge. But before, I just stick it in a bag and send it off to the dry cleaners. I mean, actually, nothing got better. I just lived in laundry the entire time. It was just a different problem. Hadn't really thought about that until... Yeah. And I think it's allowing the space for yourself to really step into that next version of yourself. I've got the note here that a really great way to get stuck in the weeds and to go absolutely nowhere, to be in the eddy, is that you're judging where you're at. And instead of starting over every moment, every hour, every day, it's like they say, if you get into an argument with your partner, right, you get to choose what that next moment's going to look like. If you fall off of the diet that you're on, you get to choose whether you're going to slit the other 3 tires. Just because one tire went flat, it doesn't mean you need to sabotage the rest of them. You can just stop and get that tire fixed. And so often in life, we feel like we're on a slide when actually we're just on the steps. And you can at any moment decide to turn around and start walking back up, even though it's way easier to go down than it is to go up. You're not on a slide.
Yeah, I love that. And it's the hilarious idea that, well, one tire's flat, let's just blow them off. Like,
we wouldn't
ever do that,
No.
But yet we do that psychologically to ourselves in all sorts of places.
Yeah.
And when we judge where we are, that's when we do get stuck. And it prevents us from seeing the possibilities, prevents us from being able to explore what other choices we might have that would help us get rebalanced in the moment. We've had quite a stressful time here lately between my partner's job and everything going on at the farm and all the bazillion things that are happening. And there have been several times where I've looked back at a moment and realized, like, dang, we could have made a different choice there. But the problem was, in the moment, we were not in a place where we had the capacity to even make decisions. He and I have spent quite a bit of time lately talking about decision fatigue. And we have definitely been in the thick of it. And it's disappointing when that happens, because it's like, well, dang, we could have made this for dinner instead of making that choice, because it was there and it was available, but we didn't have the capacity to see that in the moment. And continually just working on figuring out, how can you just be present in this moment, even if you need to take a pause, because sometimes taking a breath, holding on for a second, not making any decisions, and then step back and reevaluate allows you to see more choices in that moment. They're always there. It's not like they suddenly magically appear. They've always been there, but you have to be able to see them.
Yeah, and the reality is that you will get hit by the proverbial bus over and over and over again. And then every once in a while, you'll see the bus coming and you might not take the step off the curb. Chances are you still will. Then the next time, maybe you won't, and it'll miss you, and then you'll trip and you'll do it again. It's how we move forward from each one of those situations where we feel like we fell. We feel like we got hit by the bus, because as a human, most of the time, it's like using these examples that came from Abraham, it's an entity. It's a great person to listen to. People ask questions about their life, and it's like, you come to us after you've already jumped out of the plane. And all we can really say to you is enjoy the ride, it'll be over soon. And the next time, maybe remember to grab the parachute. But when we're in it, really honestly, all we can do is ride it out. You're in the storm. And then when the storm's over, we stop, we reset, we let go of the guilt, we let go of the fear, we let go of the shame, and we start again. And we start from where we're at, and we do our best. We take the lessons that we've learned, and we remember on a moment-to-moment basis that the experience that we are having, and the fact that we are even aware of the fact you're having that experience, means that you are awake. And that puts you in the 2% of the population. Because most people are not actually conscious of what is going on. They just keep being hit by the bus.
Yeah.
So the fact you're listening to this podcast, the fact that this is something that is resonating with you, means that you are awake. You're aware. And when you're in that situation, honestly, you're not accepting mediocre, and therefore it feels a lot harder. And that's all I have to say on the matter.
Yeah, I think that's about as much as we can say. You really do have to just begin every moment wherever you are. And the more you can practice that in every aspect of your life without judgment, things just get smoother. They really do just get smoother. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this episode about just starting where you're at. And I'm Natasha Lockey. I am a performance mountain bike and life coach. I help you find a way to perform at your best in all the situations of your life. Whether you're wanting to get better at mountain biking, whether you're wanting to just enjoy the life that you've created for yourself, or maybe you just want to find a completely new trail like I did, consciously, constantly, and reset. I'm here to help you. You can find me at Betty Gohard on Instagram, Natasha Lockey on Facebook and LinkedIn, and you can find Riding in the Weeds. We have our website at ridingintheweeds.com. We have our Instagram, Riding in the Weeds, and we do have a Facebook page. Again, same handle, Riding in the Weeds. How do we find you, Ginny? And what is your expertise?
Yeah, I'm Ginny Branden. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. If you are having challenges with your pet relationship, whether that's behavioral issues, emotional issues, or you've just got a lot of stuff going on, I can support you and help you and your pet get on the same page together so that your life smooths out. So you can find me at soulpetconnections.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the same handle. So thank you so much for joining us here today. We love you and we are happy to have you along for the ride with us. Please leave your likes, comments, and subscribes. We would love to hear from you. If you have any ideas for the show, just hit us up and we will be happy to discuss it. Thank you so much for joining us again, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Awesome. And I'm just going to double up on that one. If you're listening on Apple, please leave us a review. And if you know somebody that might benefit from this information, please share this with the people that you love. It helps other people hear our podcast, and your support is really appreciated. So thank you, and we will see you on the next one.